So we're here joined with Kelly Kunkel and Kevin Smith, both graduates of UMSL, both former student athletes of UMSL. And Kevin and Kelly, like a lot of brides and grooms across the country, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected your upcoming nuptials. You were planning a big wedding coming up next Saturday on April 25th, but you've had to alter that a little bit. Kind of talk through the process, and obviously the stay-at-home orders kind of came out a little bit of about a month ago, so you kind of knew this was coming. Talk to me a little bit about how you've adjusted your wedding schedule.
Yeah, so honestly, it was kind of like for lack of better words, a domino effect of one thing fell and then another thing fell, and then things just kept going and going as the COVID-19 outbreak kind of progressed. So initially, when St. Louis County commissioned that, weddings had to be limited to 50 people or more or less, we said, okay, we can work with that. We'll scale it down to just, very close family and maybe a couple friends. And then as the weeks progressed, it was more and more limited, 10 people or less. And it kind of got to where we are today, where it took a little bit of tears to get there and to decide what to do. But ultimately, we decided to still move forward with the actual marriage and ceremony part with just Kevin and I on the 25th. So it'll pretty much just be our officiant, maybe a pianist, Kevin and I, and then two witnesses to be determined. And then it'll just be us two in that space, so where we can still get married, move forward with our lives, and kind of start this next chapter. And then later in the year, in September, when hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be returning to some type of normalcy, we will have our big celebration with everyone, which will pretty much be recreating the ceremony how we initially planned it, and then the same for the reception, hosting that after with all of our, original family, friends, guest list, everyone kind of who was there day one, so to speak. So that's kind of what our current plan is, and I'm fingers crossed, feeling hopeful that we don't have to make any more adjustments or changes.
Yeah. I mean, really over the past 6 weeks or so, it was kind of what Kelly was saying. We would hear about a new update and then kind of come up with a plan in 48 hours, and then 24 hours later have to come up with a new one saying, oh, now it's down to 50 or down to 20 or whatever. So we're really we went from being really trying to stay on our toes to create a new plan every almost, it seemed like every day, to just saying, okay, we're going to wait a while, wait for a few announcements to come out and then create a plan. Because it was just and it was it was pretty heartbreaking and stressful just to have to come up with a new plan every few days. It was, and I guess luckily it was all pretty quick happening, to where we weren't dead set on something for another month and then something else would come out. We were only set on something for 24 hours.
Yeah. And I feel like we got pretty lucky to where we could move forward with the plan that we just outlined while still keeping our same vendors. I have a couple friends who are getting married this year who had to completely move everything because they would have lost either money or would have lost, a particular vendor that they originally worked with. So we were lucky in that regard to where we kind of just had to reshuffle everyone to a new date, and we were able to find one that worked for everybody. So I feel like that was one area, silver lining, that we were able to find with kind of the new plan that had to get worked out.
Sure. And then you guys, obviously, I know you've talked about maybe postponing the entire wedding. What kind of made you want to say, you know what, we're just going to get married on April 25th regardless, and we'll do the whole shebang later again?
Yeah. I mean, it's really come down to, it's been such a long engagement anyway. We got engaged about 16 months ago. It was late December of 2018.
You don't know this off the top of your head?
A while ago. And it's just been such a just a crazy time. And we've definitely grown in our relationship a lot, and we were just ready to get kind of move on to the next step in our life and really just get that started. Whatever that might look like now, we're not really sure, but we just didn't want to have to keep delaying. And kind of what Kelly was saying, it's been a couple months of just trying to find the silver lining and just trying to find whatever the new normal is. And we kind of wanted to start that together as a married couple.
Yeah. If I were to add anything to that, this is one thing that Kevin had to remind me of a couple times and bring me back down to earth, so to speak, was, a lot of people think of the wedding as, this big party, a big celebration, which it is, because, it's two people coming together and, starting their lives together. But at the end of the day, that within itself is the main reason why we're getting married, is we want to be husband and wife. We want to be together. And at the end of the day, we obviously want to celebrate with our family and our friends. But, the main goal or the main dream that Kevin and I want is to, be husband and wife. And we felt like we could still accomplish that with just the super small, intimate ceremony that we'll have on the 25th, and then celebrate with everyone at a later date to where everyone will feel comfortable. Everyone might be even in a bigger party mood once the COVID-19 stuff is out of the way, hopefully. So I feel like that was also a thing that we kind of had to work through to get to that decision.
Yeah. And I think it really, kind of going off that, it helped us kind of refocus on, at the beginning where you're so focused when you're talking about a wedding, you're so focused on getting the vendors together, making sure, the guest list is right and everything like that. And if anything, it really helped us kind of realize what is important, and the baseline of a wedding, what is it really? And that's, it's two people coming together instead of trying to throw as great of a party as you can, which will come later. But it's good to focus on the real part of the wedding. So
So about the whole process of getting your marriage license and being able to get married on the 25th, kind of talk us through that and how much work that may have been.
Yeah. So it's, the coronavirus has definitely hit all areas, including the local and state government. And there was a little bit of worry about a month ago about obtaining a marriage license. We heard some states might stop giving them away or giving them out, issuing them. And in Missouri, a marriage license is only good for 30 days. So it really doesn't leave much of a window, and we couldn't have gotten it, 3 months ago. It's a pretty tight window that you can get it. And it's been a bit of a process, just trying to get a hold of those that work in the the local government office, because they have limited hours now. Everybody kind of does. So it's been a process trying to do that. We actually went there and found out there that they're really only open a couple hours a week, and it's by appointment only. And so it's been a stressful couple of weeks, and we just heard back a couple of days ago that we're good to go, and we're actually going to be able to do that this week. So that's good. Great.
That's awesome news. So what are you guys looking forward to next Saturday when you guys get married? What are you hoping for? What are you looking forward to most that day?
We've kind of talked about it quite a bit. Since it's not a traditional wedding day, we've tried to come up with how we want to kind of recreate how we want it to look, and we're still kind of working on that, really. We're gonna it's not like we can even go out to a nice dinner afterwards, because even that's closed. We could go out and do some nice takeout. So we're really still trying to create that a little bit on what that day will look like. But really just getting married. We're pretty excited.
Just that finally getting to the finish line, let's call it, of that long awaited day of, finally being married to this guy right here. And, it's definitely going to be a celebration that we didn't initially picture or plan for, but I think there will still be elements of it that will be special, to a certain degree. It might be even more special because it's just Kevin and I, and it's just a lot more just one-on-one, so to speak. So I think there's that within itself is something we're excited
We've had
about.
enough one-on-one time.
For sure. And the great news is you kind of essentially get 2 weddings, unlike a lot of couples, because you'll be doing this all again in September.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's good and bad. We have to kind of replan it, but that's okay.
Yeah. We got a lot of big stuff planned already, though, so I feel like it won't be that bad. But
Good. And then going back to you guys at UMSL, kind of talk through how you met. Obviously, you met at UMSL, but how did this relationship begin?
Go for it.
Me? Okay.
She'd tell me I'm wrong anyway.
Never. So I pretty much met Kevin my freshman year. Obviously all the athletes kind of hung out with each other. I played basketball, he played baseball. We kind of ran in similar friend groups, different organizations. We both attended FCA for a time. We both helped out with kind of like game day operations and stuff, working like the concessions or ticket booths at the different games, to where that, was a social conversation starter, so to speak. And we honestly were mostly friends for the majority of college. And it wasn't really until our like end of junior year, beginning of senior year, that we kind of started hanging out more, started talking more, making different opportunities to go study at the library and things like that. So I think we went on our first date in the winter of senior year. We went to Blueberry Hill on the Loop. And we both remember it took forever for them to get us our French fries. It took like 45 minutes just for French fries. But it wasn't too bad because we kind of just kept talking, and it was still a good date.
Yeah, that was our official first date.
Yeah.
I took her on probably a good 20 unofficial dates, but she's not counting.
No, not 20.
But yeah, it was, the student athlete, it's a family, and everybody's really friends with everybody. So it was, I guess it's not the traditional, met freshman year and dated all the way throughout. And I kind of had a bit of an odd college, path anyway. I was able to be there for 6 years. So I was still living the college life for 2 years while she had a full-time job. So
yeah,
that was kind of fun too on my part. But yeah, it was a good experience at UMSL, and we both loved our time there. Had good athletic and academic careers, had awesome teams and teammates, and now that I'm working in the athletic department, it's cultivating more friendships on the administrative side too. It's really fun.
Good. And then one final question. Obviously, every marriage is going to have their rough patches, their adversity. You guys are facing it even before you're walking down the aisle. How do you think this is going to strengthen your relationship and your marriage moving forward?
The first thing that comes to my mind is kind of just truly realizing what's important in life and what's important in, a marriage between one person and the other. Some people might get super worked up over like arguments for house decorations and whatnot, versus like, is that truly what you might need to be arguing about? Or is it more important to, focus on spending like quality time together, whether it's just a walk in the park, we go play tennis sometimes. I always kick Kevin's butt, and he always ends up like throwing the racket down and slamming it on the ground. So in my mind, it really just kind of truly kind of centers us on what our core values are, what we, truly want to focus on in our lives together. As of right now, that might be work. In the future, it might be, spending more time with our family and things like that. So I think it'll help us kind of stay grounded, so to speak.
Yeah. I think going through this really kind of helped us realize, one, that we have such a great support group. between family, friends, teammates that we haven't talked to for a long time. Our church and pastor's been really supportive through all this. I mean, everybody's been so willing to help and flexible along with us that it's, realizing that we do have such a strong support group with family and friends, that it's been that's been awesome to see. And really, too, is being, realizing that marriage will take flexibility, and it's definitely taken that in the past couple months. It's been, I think that was one of our biggest kind of feats early on. We realized that we needed to be flexible, because if we didn't, we knew we'd be, really disappointed and in a bad spot. So just overall flexibility and compromising with one another, and just kind of being able to roll with the punches and just trusting in the bigger plan. So it'll be good.
Good. Well, everybody at UMSL is obviously very excited for you guys and wish you the best of the day on April 25th. And we can't wait to celebrate with you guys when you finally get to have the big wedding. So thanks for joining us here today and sharing your story, and congratulations again.
Yeah,
definitely. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it.